So here I am with this great little app that I'm playing with on my Linux computer, OBS. Got my face in the corner and Bing Maps. Now here we have Mount Baw Baw where I went today. Woke up this morning and this is about, 1,480 metres at due north, which is right here. There it is, due north, right there. And skied, kind of up the slopes a bit. It was a bit patchy here on the Baw Baw side because it's exposed to the valley, I guess. It gets warmer air rising up and lots of heavy wind, so the snow couldn't really flood it down too much. Kind of thin, it was kind of bizarre. And this is arguably the highest mountain on the Baw Baw plateau, Mount Baw Baw. It's allegedly 1564, we don't really know. 1564 metres. So anyway, I skied across here and things were pretty good at first because the trails were pretty much flat tracks that you could drive a car along, but they weren't groomed, which was disastrous. I mean, now I'm going to start on the Parks Victoria and Baw Baw management. What do? They just sit there inventing fees to pay them a wage to do nothing, and their mentality is that I'm a parks ranger, my job is to be an authority and police people to make sure, because they're vandals and they're inherently evil and they have to be policed. This is very, very insulting and contemptuous. This is the mindset. They're useless, absolutely useless. They create danger, just like righteous thrill seekers do on the road. They do 90 kilometres an hour to police you, to make sure you don't do 100, the speed limit. And when you go to pass them, they accelerate and create a life and death situation because you've timed that run to pass them and they've accelerated, and now you've got reduced time to get in front of them and there could be an oncoming vehicle. These people need to be lined up and shot, and they're in positions of authority all over Australia. And Parks Victoria, woeful. So as soon as I got off this trail here and onto this other trail, I found that it wasn't the same as it was when I skied across 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I came off Mount St Philip here, this saddle, went down through these meadows. It used to go down through these meadows, the trail was very fast, open, wide, beautiful skiing. No, they have to stop bog stompers. Why would anyone walk off the trail into the bog and just get buried knee deep in mud? I'll tell you why, because they didn't build a fucking track through it and they got lost. So now they have to police the bog stompers, us evil people that just want to vandal the area and stomp all over the bog. So they changed the track and put it through the hills. Now they didn't build a track. You don't see a track like these four-wheel drive tracks here. They just put arrows on trees and poles and it's some wallaby trail. There's no width in the track. There's nothing. It's just boulders and wilderness. So you can't fan out your skis and control your speed. You can't steer. You just got to go downhill and die in a nasty crash. Break a leg and then you freeze out there because they can't build a fucking track. They're too busy policing when they should be policing themselves for incompetence and lining themselves up against the wall and shooting themselves in the head for being useless fucks. So I ended up on this fucking shit show of a track going across this Tangel track to Mount St Philip, which is in the middle of the plateau and gets way better snow than Mount Baw Baw because it seems to flutter down here. It's not at the edge, it's surrounded by snow. It's about the same height as Baw Baw, and here it is. And it's a waste of a mountain because of the goat trails or wallaby tracks that they won't build. They won't build proper trails, and there it is. And you come down the other side and around about here, look at that, there's a meadow. Yes, if the snow was better, yes, that's the meadow you ski down. If the snow was a bit better, I would have gone down there. I have done that many years ago. So here's the trail. This was a disaster. There's the shelter rocks. There's a natural cave in there. And these meadows are the preferable route because Parks Victoria are useless. This track wasn't too bad, as you can see. It's there. I made my way to Mount St Guinea. This time I circumvented it because I was so fucked from those useless goat tracks that nearly killed me. And I went around the edge. There's another track that goes around the edge here. This is 1,509 metres. so we've lost a little bit of altitude, and but this is a non-stop. If you go over the summit, it's a non-stop 4 kilometre ski all the way back to the car park here. Now that is an awesome run, because this again here is basically a flat 4-wheel drive track here, so it's very easy to ski. You can fan out your skis, control your speed, even do a tally mark there if you've got strong enough legs. And there's the car park at 1290 metres, and that there is across the width of the Baw Baw Plateau. So if we find north, there's yeah, that's looking from the south. So I skied pretty much from that car park there across the width. That was a 9 kilometre track of bullshit goat trails mostly, and as you can see, it's a lot longer than it is in width, so you can ski 25-30 k's across, not as the crow flies, but along trails. This is the southern end at Mount Erica, 512 metres, and the northern end is Mount Whitelaw, which it slowly fades away to the north, but Mount Whitelaw is the last mountain. As you can see, it slopes down a bit. Mount Whitelaw is the last of the real higher areas, probably that one there, and that's 1450 metres, and that's a bit of a trek, I tell you, to go across the length of the Baw Baw Plateau. Let's have a look at the topographical map. Here it is, Baw Baw here. Allegedly, they can't work out the height of the mountain. Here it's 1564 on the mountain, the sign on top of the mountain. It's 1567 here. Then there's a sign here that says Mount St Philip is 1565. Then you go over to Mount St Philip, where all the big snow is, right in the middle of the plateau. Here it is, and it says 1556, the same as the sign on the top of the mountain. However, if you look at these contours, there's a 1550 contour, there's a 1560 contour, and look at this, even a 1570 metre contour. So which mountain's higher? Who knows? But if you look at the contours here, this is mustering flat. It's only 1400 metres. The summit of this is up to 1570. Who knows who to believe? And that's a 170 metre vertical drop down here. Through this would be the best. This is where the village would be perfect here, with some diamond runs across here, as you can see. These steep, and that mountain there is already that's a 1540. That's a high mountain too, 1550ish. So that there is almost 150 metre vertical drop and some very steep diamond run. Let's go back to big maps and have a look at that, what it looks like here. Yeah. Let's go and find that bit. So there's Mount Baw Baw. We zoom in. Baw Baw's there. We can see, here it is, here's mustering flat right here. So let's zoom in to that flat, there it is, and pull in at 3D. So we've got Baw Baw over there, we've got Mount St Philip here, and there's that 150 metre drop, and there's a steep double diamond drop down there, and that there is 140 odd metre vertical drop down there, and facing south too, so it would keep snow longer. And that's where I reckon the snow was so much better in the middle of the plateau, and then it fades away as you get to Mount St Guinea here, as aforementioned. And that's pretty much Mount Baw Baw in a nutshell. And the excuse for making this video is I want to put the boots into those fuckwits at Parks Victoria, who thinks their job is to police you. We're paying them. I want service. I don't want to die out in the middle of the fucking snow plains because of a broken ankle, because you can't build a fucking proper track.